Here over the last few weeks on Ag PhD, we've been talking about exactly how you can read a soil test yourself. It's really not that difficult. Today we're going to focus on phosphorus.
Phosphorus can be a little bit tricky because on many soil tests you're going to see different tests for phosphorus.
Okay, so here's what we can tell you. If your soil pH is above 7, we want you looking at the Olson test. We believe that one is going to be a little bit more accurate in high pH ground. So when you look at that Olson test, it's going to tell you approximate available phosphorus, what's available in your ground today. So let's say, for example, you see a number of 10. Well, what does that mean to you? What it means is if that's a 0 to 6 inch soil test, you can multiply that number times 2. So you go from 10 parts per million to, okay, I've got 20 pounds of phosphorus out there. Once you know how many pounds you have, then you can look up, well, how much is my crop actually going to remove, and start making some of your own recommendations from there.
With the Bray test, it's a little bit more complicated because there are two parts to most Bray tests where you're going to see a P1 and a P2. We think that Bray test is a little more accurate than the Olson in lower pH soils. Anything below a 7.0 pH, we like the Bray test. The P1 will tell us the amount of available phosphorus, and that's going to be read in parts per million. Now the P2 Bray test is going to tell us the total amount of phosphorus out in the soil. That counts the available, plus it counts what's in reserve that our crop can't access this year. So let's just say, for example, that it was 20 parts per million in the P2 test. Well, if that P2 Bray test is 20 parts per million times 2, that means there's roughly 40 pounds of phosphorus out in the soil. So you may be asking, well, why are there 20 pounds per acre available, but 40 pounds total out there? Well, some of that phosphorus is going to be chemically unavailable for your soil. Maybe it's tied up with calcium or some other nutrient.
Well, wait, but let's be very specific. Once we get higher pH soils, when we're 7.5 and above, or even 7.3 and above, then typically we're going to see phosphorus tied up with calcium in the soil. When the soil pH is low, like 6.3 and less, then we're going to see phosphorus tied up more with aluminum and iron and some other nutrients like that. So it really depends on where your soil pH is at, but the point is we want to try to have our soil pH around that 6.8 or within a half a point of that, and we have a lot less phosphorus tie-up. There are certainly products that can reduce phosphorus tie-up as well, like Avail, that we use even on our own farm.
Well, when you think about the phosphorus that's going to be available for our crop, it's one thing to look at what's on the soil test, but the other thing you have to consider is that there is also organic matter in your soil.
Well, that's on the soil test too, and so all you do is multiply that organic matter percentage times in the range of 4 to 7 pounds of phosphorus. In other words, for every percent of organic matter that you have in your soil, during the summer you're going to have free release of phosphorus. So let's say you had 3% organic matter, and we'll figure on the low side 4 pounds of phosphorus, so 3 times 4 is 12. You already see, oh, available in my soil I've got 20 pounds, for example. Now I've got a total of 32 pounds. So that's typically what we're looking at in our operation. We say we got 32 pounds, we need X number of pounds, I know I need to apply some more phosphorus in the ground.
Well, it's important to understand how to read a soil test for phosphorus. There's a little bit of complication to it, but really it's not that difficult.
Well, it may be a little bit more difficult to control our Weed of the Week, but we'll tell you how to do it on your farm coming up next.